Welcome back, everyone, for another Giving Circle Spotlight. My name is Taisha Ty Wilson. I serve as the Director of Engagement here at Philanthropy Together. And if you don't know about Philanthropy Together, you should. Hopefully you are. You're on our YouTube channel and just seeing us around. We are a global initiative to strengthen and scale philanthropy and democratize and diversify philanthropy through the power of collective giving. And giving circles are a huge piece of our work. And so this series, y'all, is designed to really shed light for you to get to know a giving circle that might be in your backyard or just that should be on your radar, because remember, we're in this together. And so one giving circle at a time, we all need to know about them. And today, we are all the way in Australia. Joining me is Kate Walsh. She is a leader of the Wela. Did I say it right, Kate?
Wela, whatever you like.
Wela, tomato, Wela Giving Circle. And they are one of Australia's giving circles that are committed and dedicated to bringing women together to fund climate change and action initiatives and organizations. And so welcome, Kate.
Thank you so much for having me. It's just awesome to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. Well, everyone is so excited, I'm telling you, because we often hear about giving circles, of course, here in the US, but today we're just so eager to even be in community and conversation with you to talk about the story and to amplify the work that you all are doing. So let's get right into it. Why don't you just get us started? Tell us a little bit about you, Kate, and your role in your giving circle and just a big overview of Wela.
Sure. Okay, so my name's Kate Walsh. I run the Wela Giving Circle. Wela stands for Women's Environmental Leadership Australia. Wela was started about 10 years ago, and it was started by the matriarchs of the Australian environmental movement, who saw the need to support leadership development with the women within the environmental movement, because looking around, there are a lot of men at the top. And if we are going to be able to create the kind of change that we need with, looking at the intersecting climate and environment crises, what we need is really diverse leadership. And we need all types of leaders, and particularly we need women and gender diverse people stepping up. So that's what Wela does. We run a range of different leadership courses. But about 2 or 3 years ago, we really started looking at funding and the lack of funding for women's environmental action. And the international statistic is that 0.2% of global charitable funding goes to women-led environmental action, 0.2%. So we thought, let's do something about it.
Say it one more time, Kate, for the people all the way across the world.
Okay, 0.2% of global charitable funding goes to women-led environmental action. It's a very small amount. So what we thought was, let's do something. So not only are we training and supporting and connecting women and gender diverse environmental leaders, but we're also now funding them, which is great. So we launched our Giving Circle 4 months ago, and it was great. People would just love it. So we now have 103 members, which I'm pretty excited about. That's great.
Group.
Yeah, it's big. We've got big plans. So I'm very excited. Last week, we actually launched our first grant round. So I know, and all the applications are coming in. People are super excited about it. So the grants we'll be giving will be specifically for women and gender diverse led environmental and climate action. That's our scope. And it's quite specific, but we already have a number of applications, and people have been calling me every day for the last week. So it's going to be great.
I love that. Well, okay. So, so much I want to even explore with that. 103 members, y'all just got started 4 months ago. So you have built this community of women, over 100 women in 4 short months.
Well, it's mainly women, but there are about 5 men.
Okay.
So
I love that.
Cool. We're like super open, and I'd really like to do some work to encourage more men to get involved, because it's not just women's responsibility to fund women's climate action. It's everyone's responsibilities. So we're going to do some more work trying to get more men involved. And, you know, the ones that have joined up are amazing, super supportive. So I think that's going to be a line of work coming up soon.
I really am glad that you even noted that in the call to action that more men we are, Kate and I are explicitly calling you men into this movement.
Yeah.
Because 70, a lot of people don't know, but 70% of members in Giving Circle here in the US are women. And so to your point though, I mean, it's great. I love, you know, we're for women, but yep, we are inclusive. Giving Circles are circles. I think that it's very important for us to consider and think through ways and how we can reach men, whether by way of our membership or just through our advocacy and partnerships and such like that, so that they can join us in this movement for collective and social change. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the issues, right? So you all are funding organizations, projects that are focused on folks taking action towards climate justice. Can you talk a little bit? I think people need to, you know, because we all hear that the world is warming up and that climate change is real, but make it real to us, Kate. Why should we care? Why is your Giving Circle, have you all decided to focus on that in that particular issue, and why should everyone else care? Why should we be concerned?
Well, I think there's two parts to it. Firstly, we are focusing women and gender diverse led organizations. And we're doing that because we really believe the answer to a lot of the problems that we're facing right now lies in diverse leadership, because we need all different types of people at the table to create the solutions. So if you look at the big international climate negotiations that happen every year, the COPs, you know, the majority of those negotiators are men. Okay. And so what we want to see that switched out. You know, we want all sorts of different people, First Nations people, women of color, people of color, all sorts at the table to create those solutions, because that's when you get the gold, when you have lots of different people sitting at a table trying to figure out the solutions to the issues that we are facing at the moment. The other part of it is environment and climate action. And I think the most interesting thing that I've heard over the last little while is that we're not talking about global warming anymore. We're talking about global boiling. I mean, we are right at the edge. And so the urgency, we feel that urgency. And so we are going to fund action to address that urgency. And what we'd love to see are projects that are all different types of change makers. So it's whether you are in Parliament doing advocacy and lobbying, whether you are educating children to get back out into nature, whether you are running amazing conferences and workshops or doing research. So we're really open to all different types of change makers and all different ways of making change, with the goal of addressing our intersecting climate and environment crisis.
Wow. Climate change, we're at the point of climate boiling. That really spoke to my heart. I have 5 children, and I'm constantly thinking about the world, Kate, and you are a mother as well, constantly thinking about the world that they are already living but will inherit. And so I appreciate you just kind of even bringing that call and just the reason behind why you all are funding organizations in that space, because it's so important. That affects climate, affects all of us, everywhere,
All of us.
every person.
And so, in Australia, so sorry, just saying that in Australia, we are very much also feeling a lot of the impacts of changes in climate. We've had big bushfires. In my personal hometown, we had a huge flood last year where, you know, it was really devastating for everyone. And interestingly, the people that are at the forefront of the impact of climate change are often women and children. And so that's the other reason we're quite passionate about working on these issues. Who's at the front line? It's women and children. Yeah. You know, when huge natural disasters happen, when crops fail, all of those sorts of things, which we are anticipating more of in the future. So addressing those needs was something that we're very passionate about.
And a large piece of this work is the advocacy piece. You talked about that a little bit, of just us again, how we all can kind of show up in this. I'm wondering, how is collective giving, or the spirit of Giving Circles, in Australia? Like, I know, it's live and real here in the US, but I think for those of us that, I've never been to Australia, would love for you to just touch a little bit about just how folks are responding to collective giving, the spirit around that collectivism in your community.
It's a great question. Australia's nonprofits generally have been funded by a range of very large foundations, similar to the US. And what we've seen over the past probably 5 years is the growth of collective giving, and it's the growth of a range of different giving circles. A lot of them are women's giving circles. That has been like sort of the first push, which has been really interesting. But we did have the most amazing giving circle launched just recently called Groundswell, and they're just focused on funding environmental action. I mean, climate and environment action. But it's amazing. Their trajectory is incredible. They have 700 members and they are making huge inroads. And it's very, very cool. So once they launched as well, I thought, it's time for us to launch now. And so we've been really overwhelmed with the response. We launched with no budget. We didn't. We are a small nonprofit, and we put the call out and everyone responded. And so it's just been fantastic. I see the future of collective giving as being really strong in Australia. We have a very, collectivist society, high volunteer rates, people like to get involved. And collective giving is one of those things where it's a very, it's a collaborative, joyful, amazing way to get involved in a community. So people are really responding well. I think it's going to be big in Australia. It's my hit prediction.
That. Oh, I love that so much. That makes my heart so happy, Kay. Because again, we're in this together, but it's going to take us in all the places and spaces for us to really bridge gaps in funding and to better and more equitably fund issues that are near and dear to us. Okay, so this is great. So Wayla, I want to talk a little bit about your grant making process.
Yeah.
You have 103 members. I think your circle is unique in that you split the money that you raise between allocating it out to organizations in your community and then the other split, like, so what is it, 50-50? The other split goes to your leadership program. So talk a little bit about how much members contribute, just your model, how much members contribute, and then just your granting process of like how y'all are allocating out the grants, the organizations, and just how you retain some of that money for your leadership development program.
Well, you're right. It's a really unique model because I haven't seen many other giving circles that are housed within an existing organization. So most giving circles are standalone organizations.
Correct.
So what we decided to do was to have it so members give $20 a week or $1,000 a year. It goes into a collective fund. 50% of that goes off to Weller's transformative leadership programs, and then 50% goes into a small grants program. So we've just launched our first round. And it was really fun, actually, designing how that grant round looks because we were coming from nothing. And so we could make it all up, which is great. There are a few guiding principles that we had. We wanted to make it really easy for organizations to apply. In Australia at the moment, there is a very live conversation about, decolonizing wealth and philanthropy. So we really wanted to make sure that the application was open to as many people as possible, very easy. And even if you have unstable internet, you can call me and I'll go through it with you on the phone. You can submit audio or drawings and, all different types of things. It's a very open process. And we'll be really doing a lot of work over the next couple of weeks, reaching into communities that we think need funding and making sure that they apply. So I really want to get applications right from the margins for people who don't get funding. We're anticipating this first round is only $20,000, but we'll be doing $4,000, $5,000 grants, which, as we know, those small $5,000 grants can be really transformative.
Absolutely.
to a new. So we'll do a couple of grants, and as usual with all giving circles, we have a committee that will shortlist the applications. The membership will vote. and then we'll have a big party and we'll allocate the grants to some amazing organizations. So we'll be doing 2 rounds each year as well, not just because I wanted to be able to, have lots to talk about all the time and have opportunities for more people to come on board. So what I'm hoping is that once we do a grant round, we'll then pick up a whole bunch of new members, and then we'll do another grant round, and we'll just keep growing that way.
I love that model, and I'm glad we're talking about it, because a lot of nonprofits like yourself and organizations, they think that this model can't be replicated or embedded within the organization. But you all are showing us the way of how that can be done, with us still in the traditional sense of a giving circle model of allocating out getting the money out and moved into community, but also retaining some for your leadership development programs, because you are investing in, again, your alignment of supporting women and girls issues. And so I love that, Kate, because I think a lot of nonprofits, especially here in the US, they're really thinking deeply about ways and how they can better fundraise and collaborate and all the things in between. Giving circles are a great way to do that, build community, and also bring your members into collective giving, those that have been traditionally or under engaged in philanthropy, to bring them in as an opportunity and ways in how they can use their time, talent, treasure, and all the things to give back. So I love that. So what you said that you all have started kind of from scratch, and just so what resources, Kate, what resources have you found, you and your team, have y'all found most helpful as you all are thinking about growth and engagement and all the things in between? Like, what has been helpful to you all?
Well, the first thing I did was just spend hours on your website. Basically, which was great. I mean, the resources that you have is, they're amazing. Sarah's TED Talk was fantastic. So what was really nice, that when we started, I didn't feel like we were alone. I felt like we were part of an international movement. And so I knew that we could reach out if we needed anything. So that was really amazing. So thank you so much for all the work that you do, because it is really important. Because starting something from scratch is, it can be a little bit scary. And being able to have a look at all of the resources and know that it's been done and tested and tweaked and revised, and then looking at all the other giving circles out there through the directory was just fantastic, because it's hugely inspiring. So we were initially very inspired by what everyone else was doing. But we also have in Australia, we are starting to connect all of the giving circles together. So we hopefully will be, meeting up regularly soon and starting to learn from each other how we do giving circles in the Australian context. So that's going to be really exciting.
Sounds like y'all are building a giving circle network, which is amazing, and one that we encourage, because you're right. We are in this together, and I appreciate that testament to Philanthropy Together's resources, because we exist solely for you all, to keep the movement going. So let's turn to your heart, to your personal heart and your experience with your giving circle and the connection. What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned, or just the biggest aha moment, light bulb moment for you now that you are part of this collective giving group? What's speaking to your heart, Kate?
What I find so amazing, even just with our small giving circle, it's just the quality of the people that are involved. I mean, we have all sorts of people in this giving circle. We have impact investors. We have frontline forest activists. We have ex-politicians. We have young up-and-coming people working in, local councils. I mean, all sorts of different people have come together for this. And when I get on the phone when they join and give them a call and say hi and thank you, or, send them an email, the warmth is what is really striking. So you have so many other nonprofit, fundraising programs, give $20 and we'll do this and that, or whatever it is. But this is different, they feel like they're a part of something, and that is really exciting. The other thing, which is also quite amazing, is the number of people within the giving circle that are putting their hands up to do extra volunteer work. They want to get involved. They want to know what's going on. So that's really, I'm finding unusual, but also like surprising and fantastic at the same time. So yeah, that's really fun.
We, in our research and what we've done with Giving Circle members, we found that Giving Circle members are more collaborative, they're more engaged, they're more
Yeah.
informed. All of the things that you talked about is the residual effects of being a part of a Giving Circle. And that was my aha moment. That's why I wanted to hear from you and your heart, because that was my moment too, of just like, whoa, it's the people, it's the village, it's me feeling like I'm part of something bigger, and the learning, just the women that I'm part of in my Giving Circles is special. You said something real quick that I want to pull out, because you said, I get on the phone and I call these members. A lot of us in Giving Circles and just in general, we're all thinking about ways and how we can better engage with our members. And so that is an engagement tactic. Sounds like when y'all have a new member to join, you make personal phone calls and really, thank them for being a part of the circle. What other ways have you found helpful with engaging your members to keep the fun, to keep the momentum up within your membership?
Well, there's two things we're doing now, and one that's coming up. So we have a regular newsletter that goes out to everyone, which has, I mean, I think it has nearly 95% open rate. So everyone looks at it and loves it. So that's the first thing. We keep everyone up to date. So that goes out every month. We also have some events. So we run Wella Connect sort of events right across Australia. So whenever we have those, the Giving Circle people always come to that, which is fantastic. The thing that we're about to do and trial, which I'm really excited about, it's a concept called the Breakfast Club. And we're going to do that once a month on a Friday morning. What we're going to do is bring 10 Giving Circle members together. We're going to, have a chat, connect, say hi. But then what we'll do is we're going to pull out an organization from our network who needs some assistance with a campaign or some fundraising or an idea or something or other. And we're going to workshop it like a campaign clinic. And so what we're going to be doing is leaning on the expertise that's in the Giving Circle membership, which is like phenomenal. I mean, these women and some men, they're like at the top of their game. They have a lot of really incredible skills. So we want to be able to provide a space for them to give back and engage with different organizations and to help, but in a way that's, it's light touch. It's, you're not going on a 3-week trip or anything. It's just like an hour on a Friday morning. You connect, you give back, you share some wisdom, and then you can come the next month if you want to as well. So we're starting that in October. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, I love that so much. And I was going to ask you, is there any other ways that y'all are supporting some of your grantee partners, like Beyond the Dollar? And that's like an engagement for your members and the Beyond the Dollar support to your grantee partners in one. Okay, I love that so much. I absolutely love that. And that's something we all can consider and maybe even model within our Giving Circles. Well, I know I want to stay on time. I want to talk so much, and I'll have to bring you back because I really would love to, I think even part of a collective conversation with the movement and what you all are doing, and hearing you talk about the connection with the other Giving Circles. So to all of you out there that are so equally inspired as I am talking to Kate, we'll bring them back and have a deeper conversation about their collective work. Well, I know that you have your campaign going on right now. And so you have your grant applications open to your grantee partners to apply. So why don't you end with telling us about any current initiatives that y'all have going on, how people can support, where can they find you, all of the things. And if they're a nonprofit or applying for funding, like how they can reach you all.
Okay, so our grant application for nonprofits working on environmental and climate action is open until the 31st of August. And you can find all of the details at wella.org.au. And if you're also interested, whether you're overseas or whether you're in Australia, if you're interested in joining the Giving Circle, you can also find all of the information at wella.org.au. That's WELA. And would love to have you on board. It's a really beautiful and very, as I said before, collaborative, joyful Giving Circle. And we're growing. So we'd love to have you come along for the ride.
This is just fantastic, friend. Flowers to you and your leaders, your members, your grantee partners, and just the broader Australian community of givers that are leaning into the spirit of generosity and thinking more intently, more strategically, more thoughtfully on how we can show up for one another. And so, Kate, I love that for you. I love that for your giving circle. I love that for our world. So thank you for all of what you are doing. And I'm so glad we're in community and got a chance to just sit with you today to share the work of Wayla Giving Circle. So you all know kind of where to find them. Go out and support. Oh, please go ahead.
Just thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for all of the support that you've given to our giving circle and all of the other giving circles that are springing up all over the world. It's an incredible movement. So thank you for all of the work that you do. It's really important, and we really appreciate it. Very grateful.
I appreciate you. All right, philanthropists, until next time, we'll see you at the next Giving Circle Spotlight. We encourage you to get into community, find your circle, y'all. You know what my call to action is going to be. So go support Wayla. Check out Philanthropy Together, our website. We have a global Giving Circle directory there. If you not interested in starting a giving circle, join one. If you don't want to join one, then support one, donate to one. And if you are thinking about starting a giving circle, just know that Philanthropy Together has a flagship program called Launchpad, where we will train you how to take you from idea to implementation of starting your circle. Until next time, philanthropists, y'all take good care, and we'll see you next time.